Hello lovely beans and welcome to a new video. So today I'll just have to take me at my word in the title because I completely forgot about the intro until I started editing, so I am recycling this beautiful footage. This blouse I'm making today was supposed to be part of my Foundations Revealed entry, but after that didn't happen, I've decided to still make it anyway. So I don't have a pattern, only an image in my head, and this very shapeless Primani blouse I will be using to get some basic shapes and dimensions by using Abby's handy dandy pen and paper trick, and I'll just go from there. After pinning it all onto the paper, I'm just truing up the lines here. And after cutting out, you can see there is a bit of a difference going on between the front and the back. So let's see how that translates into the fabric then. Yeah. It could definitely be worse. Quite baggy, but then so is the original. I do want something slightly more fitted, especially in the back. After making the dress, I'm paying special attention to the back now. I still need to fix that one. Right. After some pinching and pinning and stabbing myself, here is version 1.2. Not bad. Lays a little better over the chest with that dart there, but we're not quite there yet. And you can see the difference the changes make to the hemline. After some more pinching and pinning and cursing the fact that I do not have a dress form, version 1.3 is looking quite good. After that being successful, I've gone in and cut apart all the pieces at their seams and cut out the darts, the fullness in the back and the princess seam. I made the adjustments on one side only so you can see how different they are to where I started. Now I'm just transferring the new pieces to paper and truing up the lines for Mockup 2.0. And we're pretty good, all nice and fluffy where I want it, except the arm side. That's still a bit pokey when I bring my arms forward, like sort of folding my arms or something, so... So I just marked that up and I'm now shaving off a tiny bit of the fabric where those markers are after I picked apart the shoulder seam. Here I'm just adding some teeny tiny tweaks to the front section, not at all because I completely forgot to take footage of Mockup 2.1. And the final mockup 3.0 is looking great. And now onto the sleeves. Yeah, girl, what you're doing looks great and all, but aren't you kind of forgetting something? Like, something important? Ah, yeah. Yes, indeed. You should be using one of those to take at least approximate measurements, and well done. Now you can use those to create an actual sleeve pattern that has an actual chance of fitting. See, there we are, not bad. And here it is in the fabric. Good enough as a base, so let's carry on. Okay, so I hope you can see that. I've copied my first sleeve pattern, which incidentally is a wee bit asymmetrical. Yeah, because reasons. I copied one half of that, duplicated it, and now I've got a reasonably symmetrical thing to work with. And what I'm going to do is what I learned in 2020's Foundations Revealed sleevel workshop, which is I am going to cut these into several strips. I'm thinking probably 5 per side plus the middle one, so 11. Quick math. And I'm going to space those further apart. Stick them down onto more of that, and then cut that shape out, and try another sleeve mock-up with that to hopefully achieve the kind of gentle poof that I'm in want of. So yeah, let's go do that. Okay, yeah, whatever she said. After all that slash and spread, I'm just rounding out the sleeve head. And result! I can finally move on to making the actual blouse out of my actual fashion fabric. By the way, I got these chalk pens for my birthday. They are not clover, as had been recommended, but they are really insanely good to work with. Here is something I tried to accurately mirror the markings on the back piece instead of messing around with thread marking. I pinned through both of the layers of the fabric at pivotal points, marking it all up on the one side, including seam allowance. And then just flipped it over to mark the other side. pinned everything securely in place and flipped back to cut out. Do excuse the mess on the stovetop from the chalk. So I discovered that the triple gauze muslin that I had chosen to use, while being quite nice to work with in general, was going to be quite chunky if used for the cuffs binding. So I kind of messed around with some scrap pieces whether I couldn't just take off one layer, and turns out I could. Makes things easier. And gathering stitches for the sleeve head. Super exciting. Also put in some on the cuff side for extra fluffs. Yeah, I won't bore you with gushing over the ladder stitch dart trick again. I've done that about twice now. Not going to lie, this was super satisfying. And finally some cuff action. I'm putting a pin in the binding at the middle point and pinning the side edges to the side edges of the sleeve, right sides together. I pinned the approximate middle of the sleeve cuff to the middle of the binding to keep things manageable, and then coaxed and massaged and stroked the excess fabric into place by tugging at the gathering stitches, and coaxed and teased a bit more until I was happy with the placement. After that, I just whipped it all through the sewing machine and said a prayer of thanks to the sewing gods, because I had been worried about the bulk and ended up with this. I'll fell it down by hand on the inside later, but now it's time to close up the sleeve tube. I thought that might give a nicer finish to the cuff in the end, and I was actually right. And now, the princess seam. At least I think that's what it is, but don't quote me on that. I put in some balance marks to not fly completely without a roadmap, and did a fantastic job of staying in frame here. What I found while pinning was that it was easier to coax the curve with a narrower part of the side front on top, so that's how I sewed it as well. This allowed the wider side front, or the side really, to lay relatively flat, and made managing the center front panel relatively more easy. It came out okay for a first try, I think. A bit wobbly, perhaps. Now I'm just closing the side seams of the bodice, including the shoulder. So with the front edge, I just zigzagged the raw edge and folded over the seam allowance once and then stitched it down. Wasn't what I had planned, but again, to avoid the bulk. Again, a little wobbly, but definitely good enough for now. And now I have to stop my procrastinating and have to set in the sleeves. I lined the sleeve seam up with the side bodice seam and pinned my way up the sides to where I had marked the lowest point of where I wanted the gathers to start. Then I pinned the middle of the sleeve head to the shoulder seam and zhuzhed and futzed and massaged my way through the gathers till I had them where I wanted them, pinning as I went. And then I tossed it all through the machine while silently praying to all the gods of arts and craft, and voila! A poof! My first ever actual sleeve, not counting the mock-ups. Pulling out those gathering threads was super satisfying too. Then there was a bunch of felling and pinning, more felling and buttons, and then there was a blouse. I am quite happy with how this lady turned out. I still struggle a little bit with the inside finishes, as you can probably see on the slightly wonky despite pressing princess seams. But overall, I can call her wearable. I hope you had fun watching. I sure had fun making the blouse. Let me know you liked the video by hitting that thumbs up button, and feel free to leave a comment. If you want to help out the channel, it would be great if you could subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe share the video with someone you think would enjoy it. I will go take a break now. Wherever you are, thank you for watching, have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video.